Hi, I'm Hemant. I'm a senior engineering manager at PayPal, leading AI labs. And I'm here at DevFest Silicon Valley. And with me is Smita.
Hi, I'm Smita, and I'm a senior developer relations here at Google Cloud.
Great to have you here in the show, Smita. We start off with this classic question, right? What is your definition of AI agent?
That's a great question. I feel like, everyone has their own definition, but for me specifically, I would say that an AI agent is a system that uses a model to reason about any task that you give it in order to select the right tools to complete that task.
Nice. Yeah, I like the way you said reason and task and tools. This kind of summarizes a good definition of what an agent is. And you are also into the ADK world, right? Tell us more about what ADK is and why is it useful for our audience, and we can get a bit deeper into it.
Yeah, absolutely. ADK is an open source agent development kit. It's a framework for helping developers build agentic systems. It's amazing. It's also really easy and developer friendly in order to deploy. It's great when you want to do stuff like evaluating agents. It also has a lot of great endpoints. So for example, you can connect it with open source tools like OpenAI, any source of open source tools out there. It also comes with something called the MCP toolset, which I'm actually a huge fan of, which allows you to connect with MCP servers. And that's how models communicate with external environments.
So you're saying it's kind of a complete package which kind of helps you to have a set of tools which is probably defined within the local scope, or maybe talk to an MCP, remote or local, and do all the orchestration that's needed.
Yes, exactly.
So if you were to kind of see one of the challenges that ADK is trying to solve today, what is it? What's the top in the list that needs to be solved? And can the industry as a whole, on the free, because it's free and open source, as you said, can all of the contributors come into one room and kind of discuss and brainstorm and try to kind of change the direction at which it's heading?
Yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, I think one of the biggest things which ADK is actually trying to solve is make it easier for developers to build agents. And that's the single biggest thing that it's trying to solve, because think about it, this is a very nascent space. How many frameworks are there out there which you can actually build agents with in a super easy and deployable way? And that's exactly the main thing that ADK is trying to solve. And also the fact that you can code with it in multiple languages helps. It's really friendly for developers to use.
Does it also mean that there is some kind of a tight coupling with Google infra? Is that the case with ADK? Or you say, hey, ADK is agnostic of whatever cloud layer that you have, it's easy to deploy and run. Is that where we are getting? Or is there some kind of a coupling with Google's cloud infrastructure?
So ADK is not only model agnostic, it's also cloud agnostic, you can think of it that way. But if you really want to deploy to Google's amazing cloud services, you can easily do that. It's like a one-step command, especially for things like Cloud Run. Cloud Run is one of the best places that you can actually deploy AI agents with, especially if you've built them with ADK. It's a one-step command in order to do that. There's a multitude of ways that you could go about deploying your agents on Google Cloud, and ADK has all of the compatibilities.
Yeah, that's great. Switching gears a bit, right? Let's kind of talk about agent-first development.
Yeah.
What I mean by agent-first development is agent being kind of like a companion throughout the software development lifecycle. Not just in terms of kind of developing code or deploying and monitoring or testing and such, but also before even you kind of start a project, when you're sitting in a room and brainstorming with your product and design and all the engineering and machine learning and data scientists, everybody in a room, and we're discussing an idea, I would see an agent sitting there and helping us to kind of nudge, ask questions and participate, to product and designers kind of doing a prototype, and then the engineering taking it to production. So I kind of sense and see agents sitting everywhere here. So agent first is more of a paradigm where two parts here, right? One while you're developing, you have agents who are helping, and second, you're also kind of building for agents. You're not just building for humans, you're also saying A to A is a classic example, right? You're like building for agents and you're thinking agent as the first class citizen. So what do you feel about this paradigm, and how do you also see ADK fitting in here, or what's been your experience in this path?
I think it's exactly how you said it. you can use agents in every aspect of that software development lifecycle. It's not just about, hey, I'm going to be vibe coding with my agent and building this app out. You can also brainstorm with your agent. One of the most classic examples with ADK is actually building researcher agents. And that can help with, prototyping an app before you actually start building it. Even writing design docs. So stuff like that are what agents are really great for. And I think one of the best things about building agents in this system or like in this new age is actually building them purpose-built. So not multi-purpose agents, but actually for a very specific purpose, for example, writing design docs or doing testing of software. So yeah, there's a ton that you could do.
Great. Yeah, and you've also been an educator, right?
Yeah.
What do you think that the younger generation should start learning? Of course, they have to learn to solve problems and think, maybe meta thinking and such. But given that AI has kind of drastically changed on ways of learning, where do you think the younger generation should focus on, and how should they learn?
I was at a talk yesterday. It was actually here on the Google campus, and they were talking about how when initially when web frameworks came out, people were talking about how, oh my God, we won't need developers anymore. And then now when AI comes out and you're able to code really easily, people think, oh, we might not need software developers anymore and it's going to be extinct. But that's not the case. We've went through multiple cycles of this over the last 3 decades. In fact, I feel like it's more important now to learn AI than ever before. It's also more important now to learn how to code than ever before. So I think for the younger generation, that's the biggest takeaway. And the things that we've heard in the past, it is to go deep, but also I think it's really important to go broad and be kind of an expert in many things.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Like, we saw this over the 3 decades, as you said. Maybe even when computers came in and all the typewriters were replaced, people said, oh, everyone's going to lose their job. And maybe even predating when calculators came in, same thing happened. So this keeps repeating over the years. But I feel with AI, there's a bit of a greater tangent to how we were solving things. And if you're good at your art, it kind of accelerates the process, right? So I give this analogy saying that, hey, my handwriting is good, or I take a good photograph. It doesn't mean it's just because of the pen or the camera.
Yeah.
Yes, they matter a lot, but it's about the time that I've spent in specializing this art. So I feel programming is also kind of an art in itself, right?
Exactly. And it's evolving, day by day, month by month. So it's more important now than ever to learn how to code and also to learn how AI works.
Absolutely. So this is one of my favorite questions. I keep asking this in multiple interviews is, as AI is kind of advancing, probably we might reach a state where you don't have to, use your neural capacity to remember things. You have an assistant sitting with you, or maybe it's embedded in your brain, and you're going to, asynchronously passing tasks, and it's going to handle. Or probably I was joking the other day saying that you think and shop, or you record your dreams and play back. We might reach there in the coming decades. But do you feel that we as humans being dependent on these tools for assistance or maybe as a companion, are we losing our intuition?
I don't think that's necessarily the case. I feel like, and this is not a general statement, but I feel like AI actually helps you focus more and do things that you actually want to do. It helps you get rid of tasks which you don't want to do and focus on things that you actually like doing. And that's what I believe AI is being used for across the space. By developers I know personally, they use AI to offload tasks that they don't like doing so that they can focus more and do things that they actually like doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the things that we like to do, we should do that more.
Yeah.
And maybe assistants can take that overhead. But sometimes it comes back with a lot of confidence, even though it's hallucinating. And that's where we need the human in the loop to kind of say, you know what, you're wrong, or we probably nudge AI to go in the right direction. So that's where we are as we stand. But do you think AGI is coming soon? And what is your definition of AGI?
I honestly feel like AGI is a moving goalpost. If you looked 20 years ago, the models right now that we have, and if you looked at them 20 years ago, you would think this is AGI. So it's a moving goalpost. And I feel like instead of focusing on when AGI is coming, we should look at what's capable right now, which is we're at a really unique time in the space where purpose-built artificial intelligence is already here. So, for example, software development agents, testing agents. So this is what I think is actually really exciting about the space.
Yeah, that's really interesting, right? As I said, if AGI is a moving goalpost, that means we already have AGI in a way, right?
If you look 20 years ago, yeah.
Right. So no one really thought that agents could help in developing code or monitoring deployments and stuff. Right?
Exactly.
So it's a very interesting space. Switching gears again, we kind of hear two schools of thoughts, right? Some people think that AI is a bubble and probably compare it to the .com bubble or and such, right? And there's other set of school of thought. It says, hey, even if AI is a bubble and even if it bursts, there is a lot of changes and impact, positive impact that AI has made, which is going to change the direction of the industry in general, right? So what do you feel? Is it a bubble?
I feel like there's so many schools of thought on this, and it's really hard to say. I don't necessarily feel like AI is a bubble. There's companies or there's technology which is being built now, which has transformed people's lives. AI has genuinely transformed people's lives. I don't think that that's inherently signs of it being a bubble. There's also so many companies and startups out there who are trying to do the same thing. And maybe that's what people look at and think that, oh, this is a sign of a bubble. If someone's doing cancer research on a specific field, and there's another researcher elsewhere in the world also doing that same research, is that a bad thing necessarily? I don't think so.
Yeah. So
I don't really believe that we're in a bubble right now. It sometimes feels like it because everyone's talking about AI, but yeah, I don't think we're in a bubble.
Yeah, that's a great analogy there, right? If Google is doing a research on identifying cancer using AI, and there is a tiny startup which is also trying to solve a similar problem, is the startup and whatever Google is doing, are they competing, or together are they making science better? And this collaboration is all we need, and probably they're making science better, and there's some breakthrough that comes in which makes human lives better, right?
That's true. And I feel like so many developers in this space are actually working towards maybe even achieving AGI, as what you mentioned, or making AI better, making models better, so that, making lives better at the end of the day. Yeah.
So we are almost at the end of the discussion. This has been good. We have kind of touched base on multiple areas here. If you were to predict, what are some of the cool things that are going to happen next year, or some of the spaces that you're paying attention to, saying that, hey, this is where AI is heading, these are my top 5 predictions for this year, what would those be? It need not be 5, or some areas that is of interest for you.
I have so many things that I'm looked into, and so many things I'm super excited about. One of the things which stood out to me the most this last couple of months is how models and agents are almost coalescing. So the models that you see being released now are actually acting like agents because they come pre-built with tools. So the more and more you'll see models behaving like agents. And the term model and agent could be used interchangeably. That's one thing. And then we'll also see models getting better, I'm sure, for the next couple of months. Also, tools like MCP are really transforming how agents and models interact with the world. And I see that. I think that's going to compound more and more. That's what I'm actually super excited about.
Yeah, absolutely, right? But yeah, from nano bananas to maybe mega oranges, we don't know what's next.
Yeah.
It'll be absolutely amazing to see how the industry is evolving. And I really feel to be happy to be alive in this era where we are seeing rapid development and some things which we can't predict, and something out of the blue it happens, right? So it is an absolutely an amazing time to be here, and I look forward for the future. And I'll keep an eye on your predictions and see how.
Yeah, for it. Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Smita. It was a great conversation.
It was great talking with you.